This is the story of Mekatilili wa Menza, a Kenyan independence activist who led the Giriama people against the British colonial rule in Kenya. Mekatilili wa Menza was revered by her people, the Giriama, as a courageous leader and a symbol of resistance against British imperialism. She was viewed as a prophetess and a fearless warrior who aggressively defended the rights of her community against colonial oppression. Her actions against the British colonial administration, which led to the Giriama uprising, were seen as bold acts of defiance and determination. However, the British colonial authorities viewed Mekatilili as a threat to their rule and thereby sought to suppress her activities. They took her for a troublemaker and an instigator of unrest among the local population, especially due to her role in organizing resistance against their policies. Yet the question still remains, why would a 70-year-old widow stir up and lead an uprising against the foreign powers that occupied her ancestral land? What did she see, witness, or encounter with the colonial authorities that made her want to fight and get rid of the foreigners who had occupied her homeland? Before we continue with this story of Mekatilili wa Menza, please do like, share, subscribe, and follow me on this channel. Thank you. Mnyazi Mekatilili wa Menza is said to have been born in 1860 at a place known as Mutsara Watatsu in Bamba location in the present-day Kilifi County. Other sources argue that she was born in 1840 on account of the timing of political events that took place during this period in history. The truth is that there were no birth records at the time with which to verify her date of birth, so therefore let's assume that she was born between 1840 and 1860 and leave it at that. Moving on. Mekatilili was an only daughter of a family of 5. Her 4 brothers are listed as Nzai, Hare, Kithi, and Mwarandu. Misfortune struck one of her brothers, Mwarandu, who was sadly kidnapped by Arab slave traders and was never seen again. As a child, Mekatilili was driven by the prophecy of the famous Giriama woman seer by the name of Mepoho, which she had been told of as a child by her grandmother. According to the prophecy by Mepoho the seer, she predicted the coming of the white man and that a woman prophet would lead the resistance against that white man. This prophecy came to pass years later when Mekatilili wa Menza became that woman prophet. This means that Mekatilili's grandmother had somewhat known about the prophecy foretold by Mepoho the seer was meant for her granddaughter Mekatilili, which is why she told her about the prophecy, knowing that the prophecy would ignite a fire in Mekatilili until the time of its fulfillment. In her youth, Mekatilili got married to a man named Dieka at Langobaya, and together they had a son by the name of Katilili. Hence the name Mekatilili, which means the mother of Katilili. Many years later, during her sunset years, when her children had left the nest, her husband had died, making her a widow, and the white foreigners were in full occupation of her ancestral land, spreading their Western influence, which she saw as eroding her Giriama culture. Mekatilili then took a decision to do something about the white settlers. Her resistance was driven by the economic and social cultural concerns. She sought to prevent any Giriama laborers from being employed by the colonial authorities, ensuring that they would remain in Giriama territory and thus contribute to the well-being of the Giriama people. On the 13th of August 1913, Arthur Champion, the then colonial administrator, held a public meeting where he gave his demands to the community. In retaliation, Mekatilili stood to oppose the demands that were proposed by Arthur Champion by giving a verbal oath not to cooperate with the colonial administrators. According to reliable sources, things got so heated in this town meeting between Mekatilili and Arthur Champion that she slapped him in front of all those who attended this public meeting, allegedly. Following that public meeting, Mekatilili rounded up support for her cause against the colonial authorities due to the position she attained as a strong believer of the traditional religion. Fortunately for her, Mekatilili was aided by the traditional medicine man by the name of Wanjewa Mwandori, and with his help, she gained a large audience through her performance of the Kifudu dance. Now, this Kifudu dance was a dance that was reserved for only funeral ceremonies. Nonetheless, Mekatilili chose to perform the dance constantly from town to town, attracting a large following that followed her wherever she went. With the help of Mwandori, the medicine man, Mekatilili organized a large meeting at Kaya Fungo, where both the prophetess and the medicine man administered the Mukushe oath among the women and the Fisi oath among the men, who vowed never to cooperate with the colonial authorities. Consequently, the colonial authorities responded by seizing large tracts of Giriama land and after proceeded to burn their homes and set Kayafungo ablaze, a series of unfortunate events which led to the Giriama uprising. Following the uprising in Giriama, Mekatilili wa Menza was arrested by the colonial authorities on the 17th of October 1913, after which she was exiled to Kisii County in Nyanza province. While in prison, Mekatilili stated that Arthur Champion, the colonial administrator, was solely responsible for the Giriama uprising by forcing colonial policies upon the people of Giriama, which she claimed were eroding the traditional culture of her people. According to the colonial records, Mekatilili wa Menza returned to Giriama 5 years later, where she continued to oppose the imposition of colonial policies and ordinances. However, some narratives claim that Mekatilili escaped from prison in Kisii and walked over 1,000 kilometers back home to Giriama. It's also been said that she was later arrested and sent to a prison in Kismayu town, located in the Republic of Somalia, where she also mysteriously escaped and returned back home. In the end, Mekatilili wa Menza died in 1924 of natural causes and was buried in Bungale, located in Malindi, within the Coast Province of colonial Kenya. Mekatilili wa Menza will be remembered as a courageous and inspirational figure who stood up against oppression and fought for the rights and dignity of her people. She has further been honored for her bravery and leadership and unwavering commitment to the cause of freedom and justice. During the 1980s feminist movement in Kenya, activists considered Mekatilili as a symbol for the feminist movement, as she was the first recorded Kenyan woman to have participated in the fight for social change. On the 9th of August 2020, the Google Corporation celebrated the legacy of Mekatilili wa Menza with a Google Doodle. In August of 2025, the county of Kilifi celebrated the 22nd annual Mekatilili wa Menza Cultural Festival in her honor. Mekatilili's legacy serves as a reminder of the resilience and strength of the human spirit in the face of adversity.